Hello everyone, welcome to Man Overboard 50. Ain't nothing but a number, yo, with your host, Language Barrel. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually doing a series, a vlogging series on dating in Colombia. And the title of this series is called 3 Weeks to Find My Colombian Wife in Bogota. And so that's what I'm doing. The way the series is set up is each installment is based on a date day. In other words, if there was no date that day, then there's going to be no vlog. And some days there were actually 2 dates on the day. And so the way the system is set up is video 1 was date day 1, I had 1 date. Video 2 was date day 2, I had 2 dates. So I condensed it to one vlog, even though it was 2 dates. And then the third installment was obviously date day 3, in which I had my final date so far in the matchmaking series. And then I did a video 4, or vlog 4 is actually my last date on date day 3. I found someone I was really interested in. She's an attorney, and so I, for lack of a better term, decided to pursue her, or try to win her heart, I guess, in the old school vernacular. And so what transpires after that is a series of dates with that particular attorney. And so video 4 was our second date, and then this will be video 5 in the series, and this will be this is going to be the 3rd date. And I'll also talk briefly about some things that are going on in Bogota, and then what my future plans are going to be. So as I mentioned in the previous vlog or video, I was really only here because I was dating this particular person. Like, Bogota in itself is not really set up for tourists. It's not created, or they don't have infrastructure to really attract international tourists. So they may get some local tourists from kind of smaller communities or smaller cities or pueblos around who may want to come get like a taste of the big city. But if you're an international traveler, Bogota is really not set up for you. And so it was a struggle finding things to do until the next date, because her work schedule is so intense that I think I had to wait almost 5 days to get a second date with her. And I'm just figuring out, what am I doing for 5 days in Bogota? The weather's not nice, it's rainy, it's so spread out, the people are not particularly warm. But I really like this person. I must admit that I really was interested in this attorney, so I decided to stay. And so yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days previous, we had our 3rd date. And this date was a date at her house. So she invited me to come to her house. She had a housekeeper that was going to make a traditional meal from the region that she was from, so I could see what her life was like, or what the food is like from her previous culture, because she's not originally from Bogota. And so I went to the apartment. Actually, I'm kind of an American romance old guy. So I went and bought a big bouquet of flowers, but not a bouquet that's like symbolizes, okay, passion. I just got kind of a neutral, hey, friendship, I'm interested in you. So I delivered that to her house, and she appreciated it. It was nice. And the lunch was good. It was kind of like a fish and some platanos, or squished down plantains. They eat a lot of that here. And then a salad, and then just like some coffee or candy for dessert. But the main impetus of the video is I just wanted to kind of say how the date went. And I should have I don't know, when you want something bad enough, sometimes you don't see the signs on the wall, because especially as a guy, you're too busy reaching, that you don't really step back and see the landscape and figure out, what's going on here? Is this lady really interested in me? And I'm not saying that, by no means this person is financially comfortable or financially independent. So it's not like this person's like, oh, I'm gonna use this Westerner. No. Because our second date, she actually paid for it, which is not typical in Colombia. I mean, it's typical that the man pays for that stuff. However, I didn't see the signs, because I guess I was kind of enamored with her. She's very impressive, kind of a hard charger, which isn't necessarily my type of woman, even though both of my ex-wives were hard chargers. So I don't know, maybe it is my type of woman. But anyway, I was really impressed by her. So I was kind of taken with her. And she's really smart. I love smart women. So she's really smart. She's really funny, outgoing. But I was seeing things that weren't there. I was seeing signs that really weren't there for me to pursue this person. Yeah, she was nice and she was cordial and she was funny, but I wasn't getting any type of like man-woman vibe, and I'll explain that. So just like the nonverbal cues. Like one is she seldom like looked her best for me. Like she would, not that she was raggedy, but she would just be casual. If she came from the gym or work or whatever, she would have her stuff on. She wouldn't have makeup. So I didn't see that at first, because usually when you're trying to impress someone, when you're romantically interested in them, you kind of put on your thing. You won't give it your best shot, right? So you generally try to be at your best from a look standpoint. And she wasn't. She was really casual. I wasn't paying attention to that because I was really just like thinking, oh man, I like this woman. And so the other thing is contact. Like we would never sit close. She would always sit across from me. Almost like a colleague, like you're in the office with a colleague. You're not, scooting up next to them, having body contact. You're across from them, like you're conversing. So even though it's casual or funny, there is still a barrier. Like there's a barrier. Like okay, we're at this level. We're not at this level, right? So I didn't see that either. And then other things like touching or caressing. Even in passing or being casual, it was like none of that. And I know people are going to say, well, you're only on the third date. But when you travel to date someone, everything's heightened, right? This is not like you meet someone, I'm in the United States, I meet someone, and then we're like, well, we got time, we got months or whatever. Somebody's literally traveling to meet you, traveling to another country to meet you. Everything is heightened. So you don't have the luxury to be casual about your intention. And that's kind of where it was. So the last date at her house kind of really reinforced it. Again, she was kind of, casual, kind of like she was working, which she was. But again, that's not the way I would pursue. Like if someone's coming to my house, and I was interested in pursuing them, I'm always going to try to look my best for that person, just because generally you get the best presentation initially, right? People get casual as the relationship goes on. So if people are casual when you first meet them, then you can only anticipate that is only going to become a more casual relationship or more casual attire, or more, in other words, you're putting your best foot forward when you're stepping forward. And so if your best foot forward is kind of then that gives an indication to the person who's receiving it the value that they are placing on that meeting. And so at that luncheon, things just started clicking. I'm like thinking, man, she's, this is really more kind of like a friend thing. People say, well, you got to give it time. When you travel, you don't have the luxury of time, right? I don't have the luxury of like a month or 2 months to see if someone's interested in me, because to be honest, then it's a long-term relationship anyway, right? So I go back to my country, she goes back to work. So now we're on the long-term relationship tip. So if I'm a friend going in and now I'm on a long-term relationship tip, what does that mean? Like that means I'm not going to date somebody in my own country because I got a potential relationship that's on a friendship level with someone else. So I finally just said, I kind of see this is not your thing. I mean, I didn't say it like that. What I really said is that I think it's time for me to move on, right? I think that I haven't been able to find the interest in women who have the same interest that I have, meaning that I'm here for a specific purpose. I'm not obviously here to get married, but I'm here to see if there's a connection. If there's a connection, we can work through everything else. But if you don't even have the connection, then what am I doing in Bogota? I'd rather go to Medellin, where at least the weather's nicer and the people are warmer. It's just a nicer experience. So at the end of the date, we kind of hug, but this kind of really, even the hug is like a buddy hug where you hug somebody and they kind of tilt their head down and off to the side. So like all these body cues, I'm thinking, all right, that's cool. I just it's not her thing. I mean, it's just, she's still looking. So I sent her an email after the day, thanked her, said, hey, thanks for your time, and I really enjoyed, thank your housekeeper, the meal was good, but I got to move on, because I'm here on a specific agenda, and it looks like the people that I'm encountering don't have the same agenda, so it's just better for me to move on. And she was like, well, I understand, and I wish you the best in your luck in your search. And I'm like, thanks, and just some reciprocal email. But I realized I got to move on. So Now I need to set my travel. I have a week left in this plan, and so I'm just going to go to Medellin just to hang out. I love the music, I love the food, the culture. Well, food's okay. Let me go back with that. I love the music, the culture. The women are beautiful. The weather is beautiful. It's just if I got to be on a week vacation, I'd rather be there than be in Bogota. And so those are what my plans were. In an upcoming video, I actually do a full review of the matchmaking agency, my Colombian wife, because there are some issues with that. And if other men are thinking about it, I think they just should be aware of what I've encountered in my experiences. Obviously, it won't be bashing; it'll just be me relating exactly what transpired. So the other thing, oh, and just to go back to the previous dating situation, like her energy, the attorney's energy just really wasn't there. Like her energy was focused on her work. That's where her energy was. And so it wasn't really focused on personal relationships with a significant other. And I flat out asked her, I said, why do you even want a man? I mean, your life is full of work. You have no time for a man. And she said, well, I like to have somebody to come home to. All these kind of wishful things that don't require effort, right? People say, oh, things with this and things with that. Well, things that you value, you have to put effort into. And so that's what the last thing I'm going to say about the dating is that even though it didn't work out, like you have to put the effort in to get the things you want. And so if it doesn't work out on this whole experience, I have no regrets because I put the effort in. And so then I can move on to something else and not look back and say, well, what if I'd have tried this? What if I'd have tried that? I put the effort in, it didn't work. Okay, you move on. You learn from your, I don't want to call it a mistake because it wasn't a mistake. It was just an experience that didn't end the way I wanted. So I have to move on to something else. What else do we want to say? Going back, okay, I think that's pretty much it. I do want to, I'm not going to bash Bogota. It's a shock to me. I mean, the poverty here is shocking. The homelessness is shocking. Not the sheer numbers that you see in the U.S., but the actual intensity of it when you see it. It's pretty pronounced. I mean, it's when you're walking down the street in certain streets, you're liable to see more human waste on the street than like dog poop. And I mean, it's not like I'm stepping over human waste all the time, but when I see the waste on the sidewalk, it is not uncommon for that to be waste from a human, from somebody just squatting down in the middle of the sidewalk on the side of the building and just defecating on the street. It is tough here in Colombia. I mean, it is a tough life, and the people are tough. The women are tough, and I'm not intimidated by that. I'm not intimidated by tough people. But I just got to find someone who understands the value of what they're getting, right? If they don't understand the value of you as a person, then they're not going to put the effort in that it takes to either allow you in or once you get in to allow you to remain. So I think that's it for this video. The next video may be a video in Medellin. I don't know if I'm going to be dating there or just hanging out, but there will be a fifth video in this series, which is when I will actually look at the matchmaking agency and really just kind of review my experiences for in the event that someone else decides that they want to do it, they can be better prepared than I was and have a better understanding of what it takes to be successful here. Now, some people would say, well, does color play any part of that? Because I've heard that they're not particularly fond of black people in Bogota. And I don't default to race analogies unless I physically experience it, unless somebody says to me, I'm not digging you because you're black. And then I got some issue. Other than that, I don't look, race is not something that pops up to me as a fallback reason why something doesn't succeed or why something fails or is successful, whatever the reason is. It's not one of my trump cards. So with that, I'm going to say, be safe out there. Ciao for now. I'll catch you on the other side. Bye.